I'm Jack Nichols and welcome to highlights of the 2010 AutoGP Formula Sim Racing World Championship. Round 11 of the championship takes place in Germany around the Tilke redesigned Hockenheim ring, an almost completely flat circuit located in the Rhine Valley. The track features just 13 corners. Qualifying saw Ronnie Hannell take the first pole position of his career, just ahead of Bruno Marquez in second. Fredrik Nielsen produced his best qualifying result to start in third, alongside Canapino in fourth. Bono Huis could only manage fifth on the grid, and Lee Morris again qualified in sixth. Off the line, Hannell had no problem keeping his first place with a clean launch, and despite having the inside line, Marquez easily managed to stay in front of Nielsen. Huis ran very wide off at turn 1, but kept his momentum and only lost a place to Morris. Morris then made a daring pass up the inside of Canapino into the following corner, moving up into fourth place. With 23 cars breaking from 300 km/h to just 50, the hairpin was always going to produce some fireworks. While Moran went for the inside, Huis stayed on the outside and Canapino lost out to both drivers. Light contact from Poniatowski caused Tali to half spin, and the resulting bottleneck caused Prevost to lose his front wing after lightly hitting the back of Hurl's car. After gaining 5 places from the start, an overexcited Morgan Moran locked up, dropping him into 8th place. Huis quickly hunted down and passed Lee Morris into the hairpin, and several laps later he overtook Nielsen at the same corner. First place Hannell was now creating a gap back to Marquez, who was being chased by Huis. Fredrik Nielsen was comfortably ahead of Morris in 5th, and World Championship debutant Jeffrey Reitfeld was battling with Canapino for 6th position. It wasn't long before Huis caught and then easily passed Marquez to move up into 2nd place. After the first set of stops, Rasmus Tali and Mikko Puumalainen were now in the mix. Unbeknownst to their rivals, both were on a one-stop strategy. And while Puumalainen struggled with his rear tyres, Tali held on to 4th place all the way to the halfway point of the race. Huis was clearly faster than his teammate Hannell, and he eventually found a way past into the hairpin to take the lead. While Marquez was struggling to stay in touch, his early second stop allowed him to lead both drivers to move up into the 1st place. His lead was short-lived though, as Huis beat him to the hairpin on the following lap, and there was little Marquez could do. Battling an injury to his right knee, Marquez struggled to stay close to Huis, and eventually lost out to Hannell with 17 laps to go. Further behind, Fredrik Nielsen was continuing his lonely race in 4th place, but he lost out to the one-stopping Rasmus Tali, dropping him into 5th. Jaakko Mikkonen had been on a charge all day after a poor qualifying session, and had now moved all the way up into 6th position, leapfrogging Lee Morris through the pit stops. It now looked like the finishing order had been more or less decided, but Hannell was not yet willing to settle for 2nd place. With 10 laps to go, Hannell had caught right up to the back of Huis's car, and it began to look like the championship leader was on the ropes. On the penultimate lap, the fireworks began. Hannell got a great run on his teammate and beat him to the hairpin, but a determined Huis immediately came back at him on the following corner with a bold pass. With the spectators on the edge of their seats, the final lap was only going to get better. Hannell again drafted behind Huis and held him off into the braking zone of the hairpin, but Huis again made an aggressive pass into the following corner, forcing his teammate wide. Desperate to become the first driver of the season to win his home Grand Prix, Hannell pulled out all the stops and put a dangerous move on Huis, which sent both cars off the track and into the gravel. Whilst both managed to keep their cars from spinning, Hannell got back to the track in 1st position. With no more overtaking opportunities, he held it all the way to the finish line to take his 2nd career victory. Knowing that the precision managers would not allow a formal protest, Huis vented his frustration on his teammate past the finish line, sending a clear signal of his anger. Marquez finished on the podium for the 3rd time in succession, but the race was marred by controversy when 5 drivers were disqualified for failing to drive within the track limits. Fredrik Nielsen and Lee Morris were amongst those disqualified, and Rasmus Tali was also penalised 30 seconds for a smaller infraction of the cutting rules. This moved Mikkonen up into 4th place ahead of Puumalainen in 5th. Tali was effectively relegated to 6th, just in front of Jon-Erik Saxon. Huis has again increased his lead in the championship over Marquez, the gap now up to 29 points. Tali remains in 3rd but very close behind. Mikkonen has now jumped up into 4th position. Hannell's victory and Greco's absence has placed both drivers equal on points in 5th place. With another 1-2 result for the team, Precision Motorsports are now well on top of the Constructors' Championship standings, with Twister Racing trailing by 51 points. Further behind, Mack Corp have increased their lead over SP Motorsports in the fight for 3rd place. The next race will be the Hungarian Grand Prix, and you can tune in to watch that at 5:25 PM GMT on the 15th of August for the multi-BC broadcast. To watch the action live, just head along to www.formula-simracing.net and follow the links to the live broadcast. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I'm Jack Nichols, and we'll see you after the summer break for round 12 of the AutoGP Formula Sim Racing World Championship.